All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Just before I'm going live, Neo the hacker in the chat is saying, check out the California mandate for vaccines in schools. And what do you know? The Jesuit pawn, Gavin Newsom, leading the way for the nation. I actually missed this headline. So it looks like Neo the hacker's done a video on that. So at the end of what I was going to present, we'll watch Neo's video too, because I definitely want to know what's going on there. But yeah, let's start right here. Pat Robertson of the 700 Club is stepping down today. And notice, today's October 1st, the day leaving 91 days left in the year. He's stepping down at age 91. 4 years ago on this day, it was the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting at the Jason Aldean concert. And when I think of Pat Robertson in 91, I think of one thing. I think of this book right here. I happen to have it myself. Pat Robertson's New World Order. And I'm not a big Pat Robertson fan, but it was years ago. I was in a used bookstore, and this one was there for like $1, and I was like, I got to see Pat Robertson's take on the New World Order. But this book was published in 91. And he shines a big bright light on the Council on Foreign Relations. You know, I think it's Pat Robertson, so, you know, it's not all truth, but it's interesting that he wrote that book about the New World Order in 91, and then this big ritual on the day leaving 91 days left in the year. And at the end of the day, we know this is how the New World Order operates every single day, by this Kabbalistic code of letters and numbers and dates. And, you know, what a birthday there for Pat Robertson, right? March 22nd, 322. A man of faith in Gematria, Abrahamic religions 322, that infamous verse Genesis 322, ancient mystery religions also 322. With regards to him being 91 and stepping down on the day leaving 91 days left in the year from the 700 Club, remember the Society of Jesus, which operates within the Catholic Church, the Society of Jesus has that Gematria of 91. Today's also the 274th day of the year, and the Jesuit motto, Isus hominum salvator, equals 274. So very Jesuit day today. The Society of Jesus, Pat Robertson of the Christian Church, televangelist. And the other thing is today can be written 10/1 like 101. Christian is 101, right? And the Jesuit motto again. And remember, the English language credited to the Catholic Church, a Catholic monk, Burforth, about 1,000 years ago. And then the calendar that we're on that's all synced up, obviously credited to the Catholic Church. I think more people realize that than about the language. But again, when you uncover what's encoded in the calendar and the way they've laid out the days, you just see how these rituals come together again and again. So here you have this, you know, well-recognized Christian leader stepping down on this day of all days, right? And it's just so weird. It's like, man, you know, nowhere in this book does he identify that the Jesuits are the New World Order. So that's what I mean. He's giving you a lot of it, but you're like, at the same time, you're missing what the root of it is. And then lo and behold, he's a part of it. You know what I mean? That's the way this world is. Some people can only see part of what's going on. But from his March 22nd birthday to his resignation today, or not resignation, but just stepping down, he's old. He says he'll still show up on there sometimes, but he's not going to be the regular host anymore. It's 193 days after his birthday. That's the 44th prime number. Notice the 700 Club is 44. So what a perfect day to step down in that regard as well. And says there at the end, good and faithful doesn't even begin to describe my father's service to CBN for 60 years. So that's his son speaking on him stepping down at this time. But yeah, 60 years, that's a long time. Order equals 60, you know, Jesuit order. But yeah, I had to go back and look because I was like, didn't his New World Order book come out in 91? This is it right here, you know. And here, if you just want to hear a little bit of it, just how it begins. Here, let me go to where his writing actually is. Chapter 1, The World Order Agenda. In the fall and winter of 1989, communism collapsed in Eastern Europe. By mid 1990, the once mighty Soviet Union was in economic and political ruin. In the late summer of 1990, war erupted between Iraq and Kuwait, and the following spring, America and her allies, on the strength of superior technology and dynamic leadership, crushed Iraq's military force in a lightning-fast 100-hour war that was witnessed via satellite by virtually the entire world. In 1992, the European community will emerge as the possible forerunner of the United States of Europe. And just 8 years from the first publication of this book, the world will conclude the second millennium of its existence since the birth of Jesus Christ and will begin the third millennium AD. Against this backdrop of history, from the podium of the legislative chamber of the United States House of Representatives, the elected President of the United States of America has announced the beginning of a new world order. And this is the first Bush, George H.W. Bush. His son was president when 9/11 happened. It was a deliberate and significant announcement, but what does this promise of a new regime mean to you, to me, and to our families? Well, we have a great insight into that 30 years later. What kind of world will this new world order bring us? For the first time in their lives, many people have the undeniable sensation that they are living in a time when history is being made, when events are taking place in the world that will have a profound effect on their future lives. In preparation for a television special entitled Don't Ask Me, Ask God, which was to become, we believe, the top-rated religious television special in American history, the Christian Broadcasting Network commissioned the Gallup poll to survey a representative cross-section of the American people to discover the answer to this proposition. If you could ask God one question, what would it be? We tabulated the top 10 concerns of the American people and then enlisted the aid of such well-known personalities as Steve Allen, Ned Beatty, Ruth Buzzi, Tony Danza, Norman Fell, Michael J. Fox, Anita Gillette, Dean Jones, Marvin Kaplan, Doug McClure, Jane Meadows, Vincent Price, Ben Vereen, and many others to dramatize the top 5 questions that were on the hearts and minds of the American people. Those who advocate a new world order are trying to answer these crucial questions by political means. 1. Why is there suffering in the world? 2. Why is there evil in the world? 3. Will there ever be lasting world peace? 4. Will man ever love his fellow man? 5. What does the future hold for me and my family? Then he has these little subtitles in here. This is subtitled An Impossible Dream. To some, the New World Order will usher in an era of unprecedented peace, harmony, justice, and prosperity. In one chapter of this book, I will address the utopian dreamers and their plans through the ages. Typical of their thinking is the musing of the late megastar John Lennon, whose song Imagine has been sung without true comprehension by hundreds of millions of misty-eyed teenagers and young adults worldwide. Lennon asked those listening to his song to imagine a time when there were no countries, no religion, no heaven, no hell, no possessions, everyone living for today, and the world is one. The former Beatles' dream world would be a world of hedonism without religious faith, without national pride or sovereignty, without anything to fight for, without any private property, but with a one-world government and communal property. Of course, if a one-world government had taken away all our property, our values, our faith, and our freedom, there indeed would be nothing left worth fighting for unless we decided, like the people under the slavery of communism, that our precious freedom was worth fighting and dying to get back. Some of his most ardent fans apparently have failed to recognize one glaring and essentially hypocritical inconsistency between the words and the life of this much-acclaimed troubadour. Lennon, who sang about a new world with no private property, left to his Japanese widow an estate valued at a staggering $250 million. In fact, in almost every world utopian scheme from Karl Marx on, there is a chasm between the lyrical rhetoric meant to ensnare the masses and the personal lifestyles of the expositors and leaders of the planned utopia. George Bush and John Lennon are not alone in championing a new world order. Consider the following words that have spanned decades, even centuries of history. So he has some quotes here. National Socialism will use its own revolution for the establishing of a new world order. Adolf Hitler. The Colonel's Why do you do that? The Colonel's sole justification for preparing such a bath of blood for his countrymen was his hope of establishing a new world order of peace and security as a result. Walter Mills' Road to War. That was written in 1914. New World Order, 1914. So, at the time of the First World War. In an address to the International Platform Association at the Sheraton Park Hotel, New York Governor Nelson Rockefeller called for the creation of a new world order. You know what day that was? July 26th, 1968. Wow, 68, huh? A Rockefeller in 68. Rockefeller's behind those World Trade Centers that went into motion in 68. Again, we know the Rockefellers are all part of the Jesuit plan. Jay-Z, Rockefeller Records, the blueprint came out on 9/11/2001. Here, let's read a few more of these quotes he's got in here about New World Order. Hold on, I didn't skip a page, did I? My fingers are not working. Okay, I think we're good. In short, the house of world order will have to be built from the bottom up rather than from the top down. Let's read that again. In short, the house of world order will have to be built from the bottom up rather than the top down. An end run around national sovereignty, eroding it piece by piece, will accomplish much more than the old-fashioned assault. Richard N. Gardner, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for International Organizations under President JFK, quotes from April of 74. We must replace balance of power politics with world order politics. Jimmy Carter. Hey, today's Jimmy Carter's birthday. He's turning 97 today. Same day Pat Robertson stepping down. See if Jimmy makes it past age 97, because death equals 97 and 25. 97's the 25th prime. Biden's 25. All the parallels that we've been documenting between Biden and Jimmy Carter, the scripted parallels. But Jimmy Carter, 97 years old today. A little bit older than Pat Robertson. It is necessary to establish a universal regime and empire over the whole world. Writings of the Illuminati from 1780. That's how he's got it here in his quote. It is necessary to establish a universal regime and empire over the whole world. I think they're doing it. We deplore the division of humankind on nationalistic grounds. We have reached a turning point in human history where the best option is to transcend the limits of national sovereignty and to move toward the building of a world community, a system of world law and world order based upon transnational federal government. The Humanist Manifesto, 1973. What is the plan? It includes the installation of a new world government and a new world religious under Maitreya? I don't know that word. Maitreya? Benjamin Creme, New Age leader, April 25th, 82. It was a little bit more than a year before I got here. Here, I'll just read a little bit more of this. Just since, again, I find it so curious that this book came out in 91 and he ends up stepping down from what he's done his whole life at age 91 on the day leaving 91 days left in the year. I read this a long time ago, but I forgot most of it. Um, and then it goes on. A single thread runs from the White House to the State Department to the Council on Foreign Relations to the Trilateral Commission to secret societies to extreme New Agers. There must be a new world order. It must eliminate national sovereignty. There must be world government, a world police force, world courts, world banking and currency, and a world elite in charge of it all. To some, there must be a complete redistribution of wealth. To others, there must be an elimination of Christianity. To some extreme New Agers, there must be the deaths of 2 or 3 billion people in the third world by the end of this decade. Well, it wasn't that fast, because the population's growing. The end of that decade would have been right around 2000, the turn of the century. In an article on the New World Order in the summer 1991 edition of SCP Journal, Tal Brook quotes Brock Chisholm, director of the United National World Health Organization, as making the following appalling conclusions. I just got to mention that, he's a Christian guy, but he's making it seem like the New World Order's goal is to get rid of Christianity. And in a way, the New World Order has a whole lot to do with Christianity, So that's something to think about. It is the Society of Jesus behind it all, after all. To achieve world government, it is necessary to remove from the minds of men their individualism, loyalty to family traditions, national patriotism, and religious dogmas. Whatever fringe groups might say or believe, the core premise of a new world order is aptly summarized in the Rothschild publication The Economist in its cover story of June 28th, 1991. That's the day I got my first YouTube channel deleted. That's Elon Musk's birthday now. It's the big date in Rosemary's Baby, June 28th. So it says, entitled, The World Order Changeth. I gotta go back and look this up. There should, however, be no illusion that a global police force run by a global democracy is feasible. Those who have carried the winning ideas to the top of the mountain and now wish to spread them will not allow this process to be vetoed by the semi-converted or by plain toughs. And if that sounds pointless, it is not. The mountaintop is thick with those who would rather not see trade that is liberal, aid that is too principled, or arms control that is too self-denying. And America seems to remember that a willingness to involve others is not enough to make a collective world order work. There must also be readiness to submit to it. If America really wants such an order, it will have to be ready to take its complaints to the GATT, finance the multilateral aid agencies, and submit itself to the International Court, bow to some system to monitor arms exports, and make habit of consulting the UN. But do Americans want the government of the United States to defer to the United Nations General Assembly before initiating an action it considers in this nation's best interest? Do they want to be taxed to support an international assistance agency? Do they want cases involving themselves or their families to be tried by world courts? Do they want to be citizens of the world instead of citizens of the United States? Conversely, are Americans willing to be bound by the actions of the United Nations to condemn a nation such as Israel that might not be following the dictates of the New World Order? For that matter, would they be willing to be drafted into an army by United Nations mandate to fight a war of its choosing? Will the New World Order usher in a glorious era of peace, or at the beginning of a dictatorial why can't I say that? You know what I mean. It's a dictatorship, essentially. World nightmare. This book will raise the troubling questions and, where possible, give some answers to those questions. The invisible cord. As a broadcaster, an author, and a longtime follower and participant in the political process, I have been an observer of world events for several decades and have known personally a considerable number of this nation's political and industrial leaders. It is clear to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that for decades there has been a community of policy and leadership in the United States that operates the same regardless of which nominee of the major political parties gains access to the White House. It is relatively easy to trace the continuity of thought and purpose of our policy elites from Cecil Rhodes, whose fortune rested on African gold and diamonds, to the Federal Reserve Board, to Colonel E.M. House, the eminence grise of the Woodrow Wilson presidency, to the English Round Table, to the J.P. Morgan Bank, to the Rockefellers, and to the Council of Foreign Relations in New York, to the powerful Carnegie, Rockefeller, and Ford foundations, to the United Nations, to Henry Kissinger, to the Trilateral Commission, to Jimmy Carter, and finally to George Bush. What is not easy to explain is why the concept of a new world order, taking as it does so many overtones from secret societies and the occult, could have been handed down and then carried forward in a purely natural progression for such an extended period of time. Isn't it funny to just read this and then be like, but now, I don't know, maybe in 1991 he was still, I don't know, but I mean, this resignation by the numbers is exactly how they operate. Wealth does not explain it, for the people behind the concept have gained wealth beyond the dream of avarice. Political power does not explain it, for all these players have reached the very pinnacles of power. Monopolistic capitalism does not explain it, because although one man or group of men may be seized with megalomania, the heirs and successors to the business soon forget the dreams of empire held by their ancestors and predecessors in order to enjoy the possessions at hand. No, there has to be something more. There has to be some other power at work which has succeeded in molding and shaping United States public policy toward one clear goal: world government. From generation to successive generation, some authors and researchers have pointed to the influence of the 18th century elite group, the Illuminati. Others have pointed to the demonic ascended masters of the New Age religion, and still others have pointed to the world designs of a well-known but secret fraternal order. Some point to the greed of international banks, multinational corporations, and the vested aristocracy of the old and new world. That part where he said, others have pointed to the world designs of a well-known but secret fraternal order, he could be just referring to Masonry, Freemasonry, or he could be talking about what Manly P. Hall brought up, the Order of the Phoenix. But isn't it interesting that he keeps it vague there? And again, no mention of the Jesuits anywhere in this book. There are many suspects, but little consensus. Whichever is correct, it is my firm belief that the events of public policy are not the accidents and coincidences we are generally led to believe. They are planned. Further, I do not believe that normal men and women, if left to themselves, would spend a lifetime to form the world into a unified whole in order to control it after it had been so unified. No impulses of that sort do not spring from the human hearts, or for the matter, from God's heart. They spring instead from the depth of something that is evil, neither well-intentioned nor benevolent. The Gulf connection. As it happens, the recent war in the Persian Gulf served as the convenient backdrop for the most recent announcement of the arrival of a new world order. Despite the brilliant victory, there are troubling facts that raise very serious questions about the integrity of the origins of that war and its ultimate conclusions. Is it possible that the Gulf War was in fact a setup? Consider carefully the following irrefutable facts. On August 2nd, 1990, Iraqi tanks and armored personnel carriers poured across the border into tiny Kuwait. The Iraqis then proceeded to kill, rape, burn, loot, and pillage the people and property of that hapless land. The game begun in Kuwait by the ruthless dictator Saddam Hussein had been played out for centuries in the Middle East. The strong have always preyed on the weak. Had not the forces of Syria's Hafez al-Assad ruthlessly butchered 20,000 members of the Muslim Brotherhood in the Syrian city of Hama? Didn't Assad launch a murderous tank and artillery battle against the predominantly Christian Lebanese city of 200,000 inhabitants called Zail? I might pronounce that wrong. Zal? Didn't the streets of Beirut, once known as the Paris of the Middle East, flow red with blood when shells launched invading Syrian forces ripped into the buildings, maiming and killing innocent women and children? Wasn't it true in Lebanon that the Palestinians killed Christians and Christians killed Palestinians? Druses shelled both Christians and Palestinians, and Christians and Palestinians shelled Druses, and Syrian gunners indiscriminately shelled them all. Indeed, modern Saudi Arabia was formed as a nation only after the brutal military conquest of smaller sheikdoms by King Abdulaziz, Abu Assad. Ibn Saud was feted by the world leaders, not condemned by them. Was it not true that the great powers had all but ignored Iraq's territorial grab against Iran that set off the carnage that lasted for 8 years and cost more than 1 million lives? So why would Iraqi aggression against neighboring Kuwait be treated any differently by the world powers? In fact, was it not true that April Glaspie, the United States ambassador to Iraq, had assured Saddam Hussein that Kuwait enjoyed no special defense treaty with the United States? Hussein must have taken note that on July 31st, 1990, in testimony before a House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on the Near East, Assistant Secretary of State John Kelly made it clear that there was no mutual defense treaty between the United States and Kuwait. His words were echoed in precise detail by Margaret Tutwiler, an official spokeswoman of the United States Department, who assured a press conference that the United States had no special obligation to come to the defense of Kuwait. Washington sources told CBN News that in April 1990, John Kelly and another individual spoke with Secretary of State James Baker to warn him that America needed to send Saddam a strong warning, even accompanied by economic sanctions. Baker apparently agreed, but somehow the concept died. Saddam Hussein knew that the United States satellite reconnaissance had charted precisely the formations of Iraqi troops and armor on the Kuwait border, obviously in preparation for war. He calculated that if the United States objected to what he was planning, it had plenty of ways to communicate its displeasure. It used none of them. By words and by silence, the United States flashed Saddam Hussein a green light. But yeah, I mean, exactly. Why does the U.S. only choose to intervene and make an issue out of certain things? It's always like for political reasons. And it never makes sense if you look at the bigger picture. So, yeah, again, Pat Robertson, definitely not one of the good guys. But this book is just, like when I saw that this existed, I was like, wait a minute, Pat Robertson has a book about the New World Order? So, how wild, though. In 91, this book came out. And then, and now this big ritual on the anniversary of the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting. So, and I guess that is how the powers that shouldn't be are. I mean, they put the truth in front of your face. They don't quite give it to you all the way. So, you know, have Pat Robertson write the book, but then never hit the key element of what's really driving it all. So, a lot of people asked if I could look into the school shooting in Memphis. Again, I encourage you guys to use your own knowledge. It took me all of 5 seconds to see what was going on in this shooting. Yesterday, September 30th, it was reported that there was a shooting at Cummings K-8 Elementary School, and that's the way the school is actually named, In the article, I looked it up. Here, I'll just show you right here. Cummings, Cummings, K-8 Elementary School, Memphis. And you can see the address, 1037 Cummings Street. 1037 is an interesting address, isn't it? A lot like 137, Tennessee 137, Government 137, Authority 137. Just skipping that whole part. The name of the school equals 119, like Fraternal Order of Police. And, of course, in the Fraternal Order of Police logo, you have the All-Seeing Eye 119. And the spokesperson in this, his name is Don Crow. The spokesperson for the shooting is Don Crow, 119, Go figure. 13-year-old shooter. And then at the end of the article, they said, we're on pace to set the record for most children with gunshot wounds at schools in a year. And we're on pace to have 135 by the end of the year. That's funny because when you write out Central Intelligence Agency, you see how it's 135, it's also 117. The school, Cummings, right, is 117, and then CIA is 13. You have a 13-year-old shooter. When you write out 13, it's 99, 117, 45. Cummings has all that in it, 99, 117, 45, but CIA 13 when written out equals 117, like Central Intelligence Agency, like Cummings, CIA, you know what I mean? 13-year-old shooter. So you got the 13-year-old shooter and then the little CIA stat in there. And Shelby County, where the school is 56, go figure. So looks like the work of the same old gang, you know what I mean? And don't forget, they told us years ago, even on CNN, they showed how police were doing active shooter drills without warning with hired actors to create the realism, and they're doing them in theaters, malls, schools, public places to add to the realism of the scenario, just making it seem like a mass shooting's going on to practice for how to respond. Think about how easy it is to do that and then just report that as the real thing that happened, I think in a number of these made-for-TV stories, that's exactly what's going on. And with regards to school shootings, Alex Jones is in the news today. October 1st, Sandy Hook. Remember, 26 died at Sandy Hook, right? Today's 101, the 26th prime. 10/1, like 101, the 26th prime. 26 dead at Sandy Hook. Big number with the ritual. December 14th, 12 plus 14, 26. But we've been talking about how Sandy Hook's a major Jesuit ritual. We're just saying, this school shooting right here is in a county that equals 56. Remember, Adam Lanza, his full name, Adam Peter Lanza, 56 like Society of Jesus. The Sandy Hook shooting, they had to give you this recent story about Sandy Hook with an officer posing next to a license plate with 56. But the Sandy Hook School, again, opened in 56, the shooting in 2012, 56 years later. Alex Jones, 56th number of the Jesuits. Alex Jones, one of these Jesuit puppets. This news today on the 274th day of the year. Remember, the Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, is 274. It's also 122. And Alex Jones, his full name, Alexander Emmerich Jones. Notice how his full name's got that 122 in it as well. It's also 211 like his birthday, February 11th. 42nd day of the year, Jesuit 42. It's got the 94 in his name and the same cipher as Roman Catholic Church, who the Jesuits serve. And again, Alex Jones, in recent years, he said that he's essentially blamed it on mental problems, why he questioned the Sandy Hook shooting and accused his followers of having the same type of mental problems. It's like, dude, you don't have a mental problem because you question Sandy Hook. Dr. H. Wayne Carver was giggling about doing the autopsies on the kids and the cute kid stuff. Like, that wasn't weird. He supposedly died by the numbers, so he's not here to talk about that anymore. The guy who did the autopsies for 9/11 no longer walks the earth. How convenient, just like the school was demolished right away. And, all day they showed 3 adults in fatigues running out the back of the school into the woods. They made it seem like a military team shot up the school. And then by the end of the day, it looked, it was Adam Lanza who looked like a bad Photoshop. 112-pound Adam Lanza. So, notice this is happening to Alex Jones while he's 47 too. He's got the legal problems. The judgment's coming against him. He owes damages to the Sandy Hook families. Some kind of defamation case or something. But yeah, again, it's just obvious it's a Jesuit ritual. The 274th day of the year. What are the odds that how his name and Jesus Hominum Salvator work out in light of what we already know about this, that is a Jesuit? And remember, the news just broke not long ago of the guest of his that died from supposedly COVID, and that was a big 201 ritual. So also in the news, Gavin Newsom. Looks like this news broke. This says yesterday, but was it today? Let's see. California is poised to impose the nation's first coronavirus vaccine mandate for school children. A move announced Friday, so it was announced Friday. So the reason this is saying yesterday is because this is East Coast, right? So on the East Coast, it's already Saturday. We're out here on the West Coast. It's 9:41 p.m. So he did this today, October 1st, 101, right? 101, elementary. And wasn't this so predictable? We said this is one of the ways they'll do it, make it required in schools, because there's all sorts of medical requirements in school, and it just makes you wonder over the years, what other things have been getting injected into us over the years that maybe we didn't need? You know what I mean? But here, Neo the Hacker did a video on this. He already decoded it. So let's see. Let's see how Neo did it. Here we go.
First, 2021. And one of the breaking news today is that California's Governor Gavin Newsom is now requiring all school students to be vaccinated from COVID-19 for the...
Hold on. I want to guess the kind of things I'm going to see in this video. It is the first day of October, so I know... I'm imagining these things are going to be in here. October has the 111 in it, like vaccination, right? That's in there. It's got the 78 like Jesuit. So, mandatory also has the 111 in it. Okay. I'm just thinking of what else is going to be in this video. Sometimes I like to imagine before it happens. Let's see. Here we go.
The upcoming school year. And again, this news breaks today. Before jumping into a decode, again, this is completely contrived by the numbers. Again, if you're new here, we talk about is gematria, ancient practice of coding letters into numbers, originates from Kabbalah, or better known as Jewish mysticism. And again, if you understand this knowledge, you're able to see through the contrived news that is given to us every single day, because this is a perfect day for this announcement to be released. So before jumping into a decode, though, I do want to play this quick clip, about 3 minutes long, just so we have a better understanding of what's going on over there in California and, throughout the whole country as well, and what this mandate now means. So here we go.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on a busy Friday night. We begin with a flurry of major developments in the COVID pandemic from coast to coast. California's governor made a monumental announcement today requiring COVID vaccines for all school kids from kindergarten to 12th grade, once vaccines for kids are fully approved by the federal government. Well, tonight, as the U.S. nears 700,000 deaths from the coronavirus, the U.S. drug company Merck says it has developed a new pill that could be a game changer when it comes to treating coronavirus. Merck is now planning to seek emergency use authorization from the FDA for the world's first antiviral pill to treat COVID. And there's breaking news in New York.
Isn't it unbelievable that they're really going to put out these COVID pills with 82 on them? COVID equals 82. It's just, isn't it unbelievable? My God, man.
New York City, where a group of public school teachers asked the Supreme Court to block a vaccine mandate that's set to kick in today. CBS's Nikki Batiste is in the Big Apple right now to lead off our coverage. Good evening, Nikki.
Nora, good evening. Here in New York City, the deadline is just passed for all public school staff to get at least one vaccine dose or face.
Okay, see, just stuff like this, man. And maybe Neo's going to hit this, but you see what's behind her? Grades K and 1, kindergarten and first, but I'm thinking that that's not an accident, that's over her shoulder on this first day of October. Think about what K is. K is the 11th letter, right? So you have 11 and 1. You have 111 up there. October equals 111. Vaccination 111. Joe Biden the other day sits down for his vaccination at 111. And I said the one thing I didn't look into was his second vaccination. People went and looked right away. They're like, look, he got his second vaccination on January 11th, 111. Okay, here we go.
Termination. And we just learned the Supreme Court has refused to block that mandate. And today, another mandate in California. All eligible school-age children must be vaccinated against COVID as soon as the FDA gives full approval for the shot.
We want to end this pandemic.
California Governor Gavin Newsom took a bold step today, making his state the first to mandate COVID vaccinations for eligible children in public and private schools once the vaccine is approved by the FDA.
In fact, I anticipate other states to follow suit as well.
The vaccine will be added to the list of other vaccinations, like measles and chickenpox, required by schools in California. About a third of California kids 12 to 17 are not vaccinated against COVID.
I'm 100% in favor of it.
Meanwhile, today, drug company Merck announced its experimental pill, Molnupiravir.
Like, just the fact that they even have to get that quick sound clip in there. The guy with the shades on and the mustache looks like a child molester. Oh, I'm 100% in favor. Well, like, why does that clip even need to be in there? Back in the day, the purpose of news was to give people information. Now you can see how it's always trying to persuade people, make them think a certain way. Why did that quick sounded clip of the guy who's for it? Why didn't they get a quick clip of me in there? It could have sounded a whole lot different. Hold on.
Could be a game changer to treat COVID.
This is quite impactful data that we hope offers a little ray of hope during this dark time of the pandemic.
In the trial, patients with mild to moderate COVID at risk for serious illness were given treatment over.
I just hate it, man. I can't. We're going to be. You guys, isn't it just so frustrating that people deny the knowledge? I mean, literally, March of 2020, I was explaining the significance of 82 in the rituals, Seattle, COVID, to look out for the 82nd day of the leap year, March 22nd for lockdown. Sure enough, lockdowns all across the nation on March 22nd. Now, here we are a year and a half later, and now, after 3 vaccines, now we also got to get our COVID pills with 82s on them. It's just like, you got to be kidding me, man.
5 days. Data showed it reduced the risk of hospitalization by 50% with no deaths. There were 8 deaths in the group given a placebo. The results were so promising, the trial stopped recruiting participants, and the company is now racing to file an emergency use authorization with the FDA. Nationwide, cases of COVID continue to decline after the summer surge, but 56-year-old Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh did.
I love how they were sure to get his age in there. They were sure to mention 56-year-old Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Unbelievable.
Escape its reach, testing positive for COVID. The fully vaccinated justice is asymptomatic, but likely won't be on the bench when the new term starts on Monday. And in New York City tonight, the deadline for all school employees to get at least one.
I mean, you guys, a year and a half now of reporting on people who are asymptomatic carriers of a disease that has all the same symptoms as all, traditional what we call illness. It's just, I mean, you know what it is.
Shot has passed. About 20% of nearly 4,600 school safety agents still have not been vaccinated against COVID and will not be eligible to work Monday. Hundreds could be forced to take unpaid leave or lose their jobs.
Do you think schools will be less safe on Monday?
Schools will definitely be less safe on Monday because you have less school safety agents.
I cannot put the limit on the street.
Did you see? Come on, man. Do you see what it says there? Teamsters Local 237 president. What's 237, you guys? The prime factor is a what number? 42? Oh, man.
I cannot put the limit on the streets. I need to take care of my bills.
The threat of losing her job pushed school cafeteria worker Allison Boston to get her first dose this week reluctantly.
Now that you have a vaccine dose, do you feel safer going into school?
Yes. Honestly, yes.
We learned today an FDA advisory committee is meeting on October 26th to discuss a vaccine for younger kids, a positive development for the prospect of shots being available for kids ages 5 to 11 around how.
Okay, that's the day leaving 66 days left in the year, right? 66, number of the beast. Remember the full approval from the FDA, 66 days from Bill Gates' 66th birthday? It's also 126. We know the Jesuits like that sequence.
Halloween. Nora?
All right, Nikki Batiste, thank you.
All right, so there you go. You heard it there. And yeah, I am aware that, that within this 3 minutes, they did discuss other topics outside of the California mandate. But, I still wanted to put that in there because of how, I'm going to try to watch my words because, again, I don't want YouTube to give me another strike. But anyways, so in regards to the California mandate coming today, right? So today is October 1st, obviously, a date that, majority of the world, you write as 1/10, like 110. And in Gematria, COVID vaccine, you see how in the most simple cipher, it sums to 110, just like how today's date can be written as 1/10. Now in the US, we write the date as 10/1, like 101, right? And you see how 101 is the 26th prime? The reason why I'm pointing that out is because COVID sums to 26. Virus sums to 26. What is the governor's last name? Newsom, right? Newsom, 26. All in the same cipher. COVID, virus, Newsom, they all sum to 26 in the same cipher. This news comes on a date that can be written as 10/1, like 101, which is the 26th prime.
China's
now, another
26.
thing is, with today being October 1st, so this news comes on the very first day of October. Again, the reason why is because of gematria. You see how October sums to 111? Look what happens when you write out vaccination. Vaccination in the most simple cipher, 111 as well. And this news comes on the very first day of October. Now, as far as date numerology, you see how today has 52 date numerology? That's very important. The reason why is, first of all, this news comes out of California, which sums to 52 in the most pure cipher. And again, this is regarding a vaccine mandate, which sums to 52 in the most pure cipher. And who's the governor? Gavin Newsom, 52 in the...
He might hit it, but that vaccine mandate was 263 as well, the 56th prime. Big Jesuit number, Gavin Newsom number. Gavin Newsom's been going crazy at the 56. Maybe he's going to get it right here. Let's see.
Most pure cipher. See what I mean? And again, this news comes on a 52 date numerology out of California. It's regarding a vaccine mandate and is ordered by Gavin Newsom. And again, Gavin Newsom, vaccine mandate, California. They all sum to 52. News comes on a 52 date numerology. There's no way that could be a coincidence. Now, if you want to take it even further, you see how today's the day leaving 91 days left.
Hold on, before he gets off the 52 thing, just remember how boss 52 is. Again, so many things about 52. We're in a 52-week year named after the Pope, right? Pope is 52, government's 52, authority's 52, Earth is 52. Rambo would point out that Enlil's 52. 52 is one of those, most important numbers. So, and that's what this is, authority, right? Authority imposing its will by the numbers in a 52-week calendar year, and a Jesuit scumbag to do it all, Gavin Newsom. Here we go.
Left in the year. This is targeting schools, right? Schools in the most simple cipher, 91. This news comes on the day leaving 91 days left in the year. Now, if you want to look at when Gavin Newsom became governor of California, so you see how he's the 40th governor of California. He took office on January 7, 2019, right? So let's just measure that. January 7, 2019. And let's look at the weeks. You see how this news comes 142 weeks after he took office for governor? The reason why I'm pointing that out is because, again, Gavin Newsom, that's his name, right? Gavin Newsom, 142. And again, this news is regarding the coronavirus, which also sums to 142. So again, just to highlight that, Gavin Newsom and coronavirus, they both sum to 142. This mandate or this news comes 142 weeks after he took office for governor. Now, what's really sick is, again, if you come back here and look at California, right? So California, it is the 31st state in the country, and California's birthday is on September 9th, right? It was admitted to the Union on September 9th. So let's measure that. So September 9, 2021, that was the last anniversary for California. Let's look at the days. You see how that's 22 days? So this news comes 22 days after California's birthday, right? 22 days. Why is that important? Because, again, this is regarding a mandate. Mandate in the most pure cipher, 22. This news comes 22 days after California's birthday. If you want to take it even further, if you write out coronavirus pandemic, you see how it sums to 220? Again, in numerology, if there's a 0, you can just go ahead and drop that, so you can also read this as 22. But you don't have to do that, but I'm just pointing that out for those who might be interested in that. So again, mandate 22, news comes 22 days after the California's birthday. Now, another thing is, again, coming back to California's birthday, you can also look at the weeks and the days.
The California birthday thing is true, but remember what else happened on September 9th? That was the day Biden gave his big speech about who was going to be mandated to get the vaccine. And then it's 22 days later, the biggest state in the nation with the mandate, right? Leading the way. So here we go.
You see how it's 3 weeks and 1 day? This news comes 3 weeks and 1 day after California's birthday. The reason why that's very interesting is because vaccines. This news is regarding vaccines. You see how vaccines in the most pure cipher sums to 31? And again, what California is the what state? It's the 31st state. See? It's the 31st state. News comes 3 weeks and 1 day after California's birthday. And then the news is regarding vaccines. Vaccines 31 in the most pure cipher. So again, another contrived news story by the numbers. Nothing new here. Good old Gavin Newsom. And mind you, this is the same guy. Here, let me show this real quick.
Hold on, I gotta check something before he does that. Doesn't coronavirus vaccine equal 274? Yeah, it does. So again, just the Jesuits. Isu Somnum Salvator's 274, coronavirus vaccine 274. Here we are on the 274th day of the year as well. So they got it covered from all angles, man. That's how they do it. COVID vaccine 110, like how the date can be written. They got it from all ways. But they thought this out so perfect. Coronavirus and COVID, and how the words just fit in with all the rituals.
For those who might be skeptical of what I'm saying, Gavin Newsom, 8 weeks. Check this out. This is the same guy that said here. So it says again, Newsom projection. His projection is that 56% of California would be infected in 8 weeks. Well, how many days is 8 weeks? 8 weeks is 56 days. So his projection is that 56% of California would be infected in 56 days. First of all, the number 56, that's an odd number for you to even say. Why not 50% or 60%? 56 is a very specific number. So again, 56% of California would be infected in 56 days. Again, if you understand gematria, you're able to see through the riddle. Coronavirus, 56. Gavin Newsom, 56. Even COVID vaccine, 56 as well. Again, that's why. So Gavin Newsom, a guy whose name sums to 56, announces that, California, 56% of California would be infected in 56 days with what? With coronavirus. With coronavirus also sums to 56. Again, guys, gematria is the knowledge to know, because, again, you're able to see through the entire contrived news every single day by this code. And people just don't catch on, and it's right in your face. None of this stuff is a conspiracy. It's all verifiable. It's basic addition. That's really what it is. All right, guys, we'll end it right there. If you got...
Okay. Well, it is a conspiracy. I mean, we're exposing a conspiracy. It's just not conspiracy theory bullshit. It's conspiracy fact. It's the knowledge to know if you want to see through the conspiracy that is this agenda. And I just noticed something else about Gavin Newsom I don't think I've mentioned before, but I noticed it just when you had it up on the screen. Did you catch what mayor number Gavin Newsom was for San Francisco? 42, right? And now he's Mr. Vaccine. He's Mr. Vaccine there, Gavin Newsom. Just like Bill Gates, another big 42 character. Bill Gates, another Jesuit pawn. But he was the 42nd mayor of San Francisco. And remember, San Francisco is that 122 city. San Francisco, 122. Jesus Hominum Salvator, 122. Pope Francis, named after St. Francis of Assisi, like San Francisco is. Pope Francis, 122. And again, that Jesuit motto, Jesus Hominum Salvator, 122. San Francisco on the 122nd Meridian West. Again, you got to know all your ciphers. Pope Francis, the 266th Pope, the first Jesuit. And a lot of this all goes back to the Pope. The Pope's got the 5256 encoding, which was clear and present in this ritual. So, very good work from Neo the Hacker. And, yeah, he does great work. So make sure you're subscribed to his channel. Boom. I got to be the 83rd like. How about that? He's almost better on 82, though, with those 82 COVID pills. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go back and document that one. Good thing I didn't finish the book. I think I'm going to figure out a way to tuck this in there, too. We got to call out the way that they, yeah, because this is crucial, the way they did this with the first state in a major state. You know, the same state that's leading the way through the whole pandemic. First state to lock down. First state to now mandate children to get vaccinated. So, pretty unbelievable stuff that we're allowing to happen. But we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Be careful with those Stephen Hawking videos. I almost laughed myself to death yesterday. But we'll be back tomorrow, I'm sure. October 2nd, it'll be the 1-year anniversary of Trump coming down with the COVID by the numbers. You know, Mr. 102 himself. And by the way, just the whole thing about 110 today, the whole thing about 110, remember, I think they said Trump actually he was tested positive for COVID on October 1st last year, but then the news broke October 2nd. But remember, the cover of my book, you know, I guess I can show it real quick because I have it right here. Remember, the cover of my book, because 110 is a big number in the book if you haven't read it. But again, the World Trade Centers that were 110 stories tall, and then you got the outline of the World Trade Centers and the COVID thing like a O, right? So it's like a 110 on the cover, because that's the number that just brings it all together, from George Floyd to coronavirus to the World Trade Centers. What's that number 110 about? And prophecy is 110. These people are fulfilling prophecy, right? That's why they do it by the biblical code. You got Pat Robertson going down today, who's been described as a prophet by some. And the word prophet is 44, prophecy 110, Pat is 44, the 700 Club 44, today 193 days after his birthday, the 44th prime. So all this stuff has to do, it's like a ritual, a tribute to them fulfilling the prophecy. And remember, vaccination in the Sumerian gematria is 666, like the number from Revelation, the concluding book of the Bible, a book of prophecy. So, yeah, great work. I almost missed that story, and I'm glad Neo didn't. So good work, Neo. I'm going to have to do a post on it myself. And don't forget just all the Jesuit stuff about today. The day leaving 91 days left in the year, the Society of Jesus 91, 274th day of the year, Jesus Hominum Salvator. I mean, it's just so obvious. Coronavirus vaccine 274. Again, all of you guys who keep chipping in leave your comment once a week. I can't believe you're shilling and telling people it's Jesuits when it's clearly Israel. It's like, those people are just so lame. It's just like, oh, yeah, it's Israel, the nation that's getting the worst of the policies worldwide. Clearly, Israel's behind it, since Israel's getting the biggest rituals of all done against them, right? Isn't that just the bulletproof evidence that Israel's behind the agenda? Again, Israel's part of the Jesuit creation. The you-know-who's do have a lot to do with it, but saying that Israel's the driving force of the New World Order is just to show that you don't know the order of history. Israel's a product of the ongoing agenda. They couldn't possibly be what's behind it. It's literally impossible for Israel to be the driving force of what's going on. It's definitely a part of what's going on, just like we're a part of what's going on. We're part of the ongoing agenda. So, anyway, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. And until next time.